අද්විතීය 200 Mbps ස්පීඩ් එකකින් ශ්‍රී ලංකාවේ වේගවත්ම සහ පුළුල්තම හෝම් බ්‍රෝඩ්බෑන්ඩ් සම්බන්ධතාවය වන SLT Mobitel දේශීය ෆයිබර් බලවේගය ඔබත් අදම අත්විඳින්න.
හරිම සුදුයි.
Tonight on First at 9, this Thursday the 3rd of August 2023. Fluid tariffs. Water tariffs for domestic usage have been increased, effective from 1st August. Ports upgrade. Sri Lanka to set its sights on being a transshipment hub. Nimal Siripala de Silva echoes these and other plans as construction work on the East Container Terminal commences. Debt set. Minister Shehan Semasinghe confirms that Sri Lanka is on track to complete domestic debt restructuring.
A successful first review would place Sri Lanka in a prime position to shift from stabilisation to growth from 2024 onwards.
Australian High Commissioner praises Sri Lanka's current economic environment, branding it conducive for investment.
We've seen positive developments in the investor climate as well too, through the Board of Investment and the creation of an investor facilitation centre as a one-stop shop for navigating the investment approval processes.
Litrogas announces a price hike shortly amidst global spike in LP gas products.
Alliance Finance මෙතුරු රන්නයි සේවාවෙන් රන් පවුම්කට රුපියල් 1,70,000ක ඉහළ අත්තිකාරම.
ඔබේ විශ්වාසය දිනු සෙන්සුරයින් දැන් ළඟමැති ෆාමසියෙන් ලබාගත හැක.
This is AdaDerana First at 9, live from Studio 24 in Colombo.
Good evening and welcome to First at 9. I'm Shanella Fernando in your top stories for tonight. Sri Lanka's National Water Supply and Drainage Board has revised the water tariff effective from the 1st of August 2023, a month after the government increased the prices for electricity. The price revision is scheduled to impact 9 categories, including water for tenant gardens, government schools, religious and sacred places and other sectors. This is the first price revision for 2023. Charges are set to increase by an approximate 30 to 50% rather. However, there has been no increase in the water tariffs of the Samurdhi beneficiaries and estate houses.
Minister of Water Supply Jeevan Thondaman has issued the relevant gazette notice revising water tariffs effective from the first day of August. In this tariff revision, there has been no increase in the water tariffs for the Samurdhi beneficiaries and estate houses. Water charges for domestic category houses except Samurdhi and estate houses are revised as follows. Between 0 to 5 units, the usage fee, which was 20 rupees per unit, has been increased to 60 rupees per unit. For a unit between 6 to 10 units, the usage fee, which was 27 rupees, will increase to 80 rupees. Between 11 to 15 units, the usage fee has been increased to 100 rupees per unit, which used to be 34 rupees. However, the monthly service charge of these 3 unit categories has not been revised. Between 16 to 20 units, the charge per unit, which was at 68 rupees, has been increased to 110 rupees, while the monthly service fee has also been increased from 300 rupees to 400 rupees. Between 21 to 25 units, the usage charge at 99 rupees will increase to 130 rupees, and the monthly service fee will increase to 500 rupees from 300 rupees. Meanwhile, the monthly service fee of 900 rupees has been lowered to 600 rupees, although the usage fee for a unit has been raised to 160 rupees, which was 150 rupees for the households with a usage between 26 to 30 units. Apart from Samurdhi and estate houses, the usage fee as well as the monthly service charge have been increased for the rest of the units in the domestic category.
මේ ගෘහස්ත පරිභෝගකයන්ගෙන් 62% ප්‍රමාණයක් ඉන්නේ ලීටර් 15000ක් යුනිට් 15ක් හෝ ඊට අඩුවෙන් පාවිච්චි කරන ජනතාව. ඒ අයට ජලගාස්තුව වැඩි වෙන්නේ කලින් තිබුණේ රුපියල් 812ක් විතර ප්‍රමාණයක් 2022 ජලගාස්තු සංශෝධනයේ. දැන් 1700ක විතර ප්‍රමාණයක් වැඩි වෙනවා. 106ක විතර ප්‍රමාණයක ජලගාස්තු වැඩිවීමක් වෙනවා. 150ක ජලගාස්තු සංශෝධනයක් සිද්ධ වෙන්නේ ලීටර් 5000ක් ඒකක 5ක් පාවිච්චි කරන ජනතාවට 86ක් විතර ඊළඟ කාණ්ඩයට මේ විදිහට වැඩිවීමක් වෙන්නේ.
In the category of state-owned enterprises, commercial premises and tourist hotels and guest houses, the per-unit fee has been increased to 150 rupees from 116 rupees. Water charges in 9 categories, including water for tenement gardens, government schools, religious and sacred places and many other sectors have also been revised.
State Minister of Finance Shehan Semasinghe says that Sri Lanka intends to conclude the debt restructuring process on schedule with the first review of the International Monetary Fund, which is due in September of this year. Addressing an event in Colombo today, the State Finance Minister said the government will be introducing a new Public Finance Management Act by early next year. Meanwhile, resident Australian High Commissioner in Colombo, Paul Stephens, commended the steps taken by the Sri Lankan government to attract foreign investments, highlighting that he has observed positive developments on Sri Lanka's investment climate.
The inaugural ceremony of CPA Australia in Sri Lanka was held in Colombo today under the patronage of State Minister of Finance Shehan Semasinghe.
The wide-reaching and long overdue reforms that we have embarked on has shown clear signs of economic stability. However, we still have a long journey ahead of us. Sri Lanka intends to conclude its debt restructuring process in line with the IMF first review, which is due in September this year. A successful first review would place Sri Lanka in a prime position to shift from stabilization to growth from 2024 onwards. We will increase investment in key sectors to stimulate economic growth and support the country's recovery. Sri Lanka will once again be an international destination for investment and business. Sectors such as education, healthcare, and digitization will be a focus for public investments. The government will establish an agency for external trade and investment to achieve better coordination between different government institutions. The government aims to create greater trade liberalization, which is critical to attract investment and boost productivity growth. Further, we'll establish new economic zones across the country to bolster inflow of FDI, essential to unlocking Sri Lanka's potential. New key legislations have been already introduced, such as the Parliamentary Budget Office, the Anti-Corruption Law, and the new Central Bank Act to enhance independence, transparency, and good governance. We will introduce a new Public Financial Management Act by 2024, incorporating binding fiscal rules to keep public expenditure in check. We have built on lessons learned from the crisis to develop the foundations of a stable and prosperous Sri Lanka.
If Sri Lanka is to achieve your president's ambition of becoming an agile, export-oriented economy, there are a number of challenges it still needs to overcome and a number of tasks it needs to undertake. There's a real need to diversify and grow the export sector, breaking the mould of the past. And to do this, Sri Lanka needs to attract much more foreign investment and better quality foreign investment. Historically, Sri Lanka's foreign investment climate has not been as conducive to investment as it could be, but now out of necessity this needs to change, and it is changing. And we've seen positive developments in the investor climate as well too, through the Board of Investment and the creation of an investor facilitation centre as a one-stop shop for navigating the investment approval processes and ensuring that the process of getting the investment approvals here is streamlined. Some of Sri Lanka's current free trade agreements need to be updated, they need to be upgraded and modernised. Looking at the Australia-Sri Lanka trade and investment relationship, there are areas of potential growth. Energy is one and resources is another.
Minister of Ports, Shipping and Aviation Nimal Siripala de Silva says his ministry, along with the Sri Lanka Ports Authority, is aiming to develop the Colombo port into a transshipment hub. Addressing an event that saw the commencement of construction work for the operations building in the East Container Terminal, he said that the aim of the government is to increase the TEU handling capacity of the port from the current 3.5 million level to 8 million.
The construction work of the operations building in the East Container Terminal commenced today under the patronage of Minister of Ports, Shipping and Aviation Nimal Siripala de Silva. The construction cost of the main operations building, which will comprise of 4 stories, is estimated at 1.3 billion rupees. Construction activity is expected to be completed by February of next year. The 1.3-kilometer long terminal, which is fully funded by the Sri Lanka Ports Authority, will be built at a cost of $580 million. Speaking at the opening, the minister said that the 8.5 million current 20-foot equivalent unit container handling capacity at the port of Colombo will be increased to 35 million with the completion of the East Container Terminal, Jaya Container Terminal, West Container Terminal, and the proposed North Port projects in the future.
මේ පර්යන්තයේ යම් සංවර්ධනයක් දැන් වෙනවා නම් ඒක ගෞරවය මේ රටේ ජනාධිපති මුදල් අමාත්‍ය රනිල් වික්‍රමසිංහ මැතිතුමාට යන්නට ඕන. එතුමාගේ ඒ නිවැරදි ක්‍රියාදාමය නිසා තමයි අද ආර්ථිකය ශක්තිමත් වෙමින් අපට මෙවැනි පර්යන්තයක් අප විසින්ම ගොඩනැගීම සඳහා අපට පුළුවන්කම තියෙන්නේ. ඒ නිසා වරාය අධිකාරියෙන් තමයි මේකට ආයෝජනය කරන්නේ. එහෙමනම් වරාය අධිකාරියේ තියෙන මුදල් අපි නිසි ලෙස කළමනාකරණය කර ගැනීම වැදගත්. දූෂණයේ නාස්තිය අවම කිරීම වැදගත්. අපේ වියහියදන් අඩු කරගෙන මුදල් ඉතුරු කරගෙන ඒ මුදල් අපි මේ සඳහා ආයෝජනය කරන්න ඕනේ. ඒක තමයි මගේ මුදල් සෙවීමේ වැඩපිළිවෙල හා ප්‍රතිපත්තිය. වරාය අපිට ඊටම වටිනා ආර්ථික කේන්ද්‍රස්ථානයක්. දැන් අපේ ගතානුගතික වරායක් නෙවෙයි තියෙන්නේ. දැන් ට්‍රාන්ස්ෂිප්මන්ට් හබ් එකක් හැටියට කන්ටේනර් හුවමාරු කරන මධ්‍යස්ථානයක් හැටියට තමයි අපි මේක දියුණු කරන්නේ.
Domestic liquefied petroleum gas supplier Litro is expected to revise its prices shortly, according to the chairman of Litro Gas Lanka, Mudita Piris. An announcement in this regard is scheduled to be made tomorrow morning. The state LP gas supplier's chairman further said the prices of domestic LP gas are being revised in line with the world LP market prices. He added that this price revision comes on the back of the world market price of liquid petroleum gas being increased by over $85 per metric ton. The price revision, which is due tomorrow, comes after 4 successive announcements of price reductions this year by Litro Gas Lanka. Minister of Foreign Affairs President's Council Ali Sabri is expected to visit Iran tomorrow for a 4-day official visit. The foreign minister's visit is taking place following an invitation from the Iranian Minister of Foreign Affairs, Dr. Hossein Amir Abdullahian. During the visit, Minister Sabri is scheduled to pay a courtesy call on the Iranian president and to hold meetings with the Iranian foreign minister and other senior government officials with a view to further strengthening the close relations between the two countries. The minister is also scheduled to deliver a speech at the Institute of Political and International Studies of Iran. Former member of the United National Party, Professor Ashu Marasinghe, says he expects leaders of other political parties to present their recommendations on ways to overcome barriers in the implementation of the 13th Amendment in the coming weeks. Meanwhile, independent parliamentarian Vasudeva Nanayakara called on the government to ensure a unitary state with the existence of provincial councils. With that, here are some views expressed on the implementation of the 13th Amendment by politicians.
අපේ ස්ථාවරය පළාත් සභා සහිත ඒකීය රාජ්‍යයක්.
ජනතුමා කටින් ප්‍රකාශ කරාට මම 13 ඉක්මවා යන්නේ නැහැ කියලා එදා අපේ අතට පත් කරපු එතුමා දෙමළ දේශපාලනඥයන් සමග කරපු සාකච්ඡාවල එකඟතාව තුළ තියෙනවා නියත ලෙසම 13 ඉක්මවා යෑමේ පටිපාටිය. ඉතින් මෙතිවරණ තියන්නේ නැති පළාත් සභාවක්වත් මේ කරන සාකච්ඡාවල්වත් දෙන බලතල ගැන එකඟතාවක්වත් කුමක් සඳහාද? මොකද්ද මේ ව්‍යාජය?
සර්වපාක්ෂික සමුළුවේදී පාර්ලිමේන්තුවේ ඉන්න සියලුම පක්ෂ නායකයින්ගෙන් ඉල්ලා සිටියේ 13 ක්‍රියාත්මක කරන්න තියෙන බාධා ඉවත් කරගන්න එතුමාලගේ අදහස් දෙන්න කියලා. අපි බලාපොරොත්තු වෙන සති දෙක තුනක් ඇතුළත මේ පක්ෂ නියෝජිතයෝ ඔයගොල්ලන්ගේ යෝජනා ටික ඉදිරිපත් කරයි කියලා. ඊට පස්සේ පුළුවන් පාර්ලිමේන්තුවේ මේ සංවාදය ආරම්භ කරන්න. ඒත් එක්කම ජනාධිපතිතුමා පාර්ලිමේන්තුවේදී ඉස්සරහට කොහොමද අපි ක්‍රියාත්මක විත්තේ කියන සම්බන්ධයෙන් පැහැදිලි ප්‍රකාශයක් කරයි. බොහෝ දුරට ලබන පාර්ලිමේන්තු සතියේ සිද්ධ වෙයි.
13 සංශෝධනයේ ගේන වෙලාවේ ශ්‍රේෂ්ඨ අධිකරණ නඩු තීන්දුවක් තිබුණා. ඒ නඩු තීන්දුවේ ජනමත විචාරණයක අවශ්‍යතාවය නඩුකාරවරු 9 දෙනාගෙන් 4 දෙනෙක්ම ප්‍රකාශ කළා. ඒ නිසාම තමයි ඉඩම් සහ පොලිස් බලතල නැතිව 13 ක්‍රියාත්මක කිරීමට තීරණයක් ගත්තේ. ඒ නිසා දැන් මේ වෙලාවේ හිතුමතේට වැඩ කිරීමට පාර්ලිමේන්තුවටවත් ජනාධිපතිතුමාටවත් අයිතියක් නැහැ.
පොලිස් බලතල පිළිබඳව අපිට දෙමළ ජනතාවත් එක්ක ප්‍රශ්න නැහැ. නමුත් මිනිස්සුම දැන්ම කියනවා පොලිසිය දැනටම දේශපාලනීකරණයට ලක් වෙලා කියලා. එක පොලිස්වරයෙක් සහ එක පොලිසියක් තියාගෙන. එතකොට පළාත් 9ක පොලිසි 9ක් තියෙනකොට සහ මහා ඇමතිවරු 9 දෙනෙක් පොලිසිය පාලනය කරනකොට මොකක්ද එකෙන් වෙන්න පුළුවන් රටට වෙන්න පුළුවන් දේ. ඒක දෙමළ ජනතාවට විතරක් නෙවෙයි පොදුවේ රටට බිය හැකි දේවල් මොනවද පිළිබඳව කියන එක පාර්ලිමේන්තුවේ තර්ක කරලා සාකච්ඡා කරලා විසඳුමකට එන්නට ඕනේ.
The all-share price index of the Colombo Stock Exchange has recorded significant gains today, with the index gaining more than 130 points. This and more business news after this short break. Stay with us.
ගොඩමඩ පෙරලි කරන බලපුළුවන්කාරයා මහින්ද්‍රා යුවෝ ටීමෝ වෙතින්. වැඩම ගොඩයි ගොඩම තමයි. ස්වරාජ් ට්‍රැක්ටර් ටීමෝ වෙතින්.
Welcome back in business news. Sri Lankan shares closed higher today, aided by gains in industrial stocks. The old share price index closed up 1.18% at 11,582.34 points, closing higher for 5 straight sessions. The S&P SL20 index ended at 3,389.67 points, following a 2.07% decline. John Keel's Holdings PLC and Expo Lanka Holdings PLC were the top gainers on the CSE All Share, rising 2.94% and 2.36% respectively. Trading volume on the CSE All Share Price Index rose to 186.8 million shares from 89.3 million shares in the previous session. Market turnover rose to 6.62 billion rupees or $20.82 million from 3.87 billion rupees in the previous session. The banking sector was the top contributor to the market turnover, while the capital goods sector was the second highest contributor. Foreign investors were net buyers, purchasing stocks worth 1.77 billion rupees, while domestic investors were net sellers, offloading shares worth 6.35 billion rupees. Now let's take a look at how the rupee traded against other major currencies during the day. Global oil prices steadied today after dropping sharply from more than 3-month highs in the previous session, as concerns around supply tightness offset the impact on sentiment of a US government credit downgrade. Crude is supported by supply concerns because of output cuts by OPEC+, the organization of the petroleum exporting countries and allies, that a meeting on Friday is expected to keep in place, further eroding inventories.
Brent crude futures crept up 1 cent to $83.21 a barrel, recovering from an earlier decline. US West Texas Intermediate crude edged 6 cents higher to $79.55. Both benchmarks hit their highest since April 17th on Wednesday, but closed down 2% after the ratings downgrade. Some analysts saw the drop as an overreaction. Brokers said that prices are expected to plunge in the coming months. On Wednesday, ratings agency Fitch downgraded the main US credit rating, reflecting an expected fiscal deterioration as well as a high and growing government debt burden. The downgrade hit investor risk appetite, pushing oil and global stock markets lower. Underlining tighter supply, US crude inventories fell by 17 million barrels last week, the largest drop in US crude inventories according to records dating back to 1982. The Bank of England raised interest rates to a 15-year high of 5.25% from 5% today, as widely expected, to tame persistently high inflation.
With that, we wrap up tonight's edition of First at 9. Thank you for joining. I'm Shanella Fernando. Have a good night.
For news and information you can trust 24 hours a day, visit AdaDerana.lk.